everybody, welcome back to EventSpeak. I'm Big John, CEO of Beyond Experiential. Thanks for tuning back in. And if it's your first time, as I always like to say, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. We are an interview show that lives on the newly revitalized EventSpeak network. Now, if you come from my class, I don't want to date myself here, but we go back a little ways when EventSpeak was kind of the industry go-to to find out what's going on in the experiential brand marketing world. Well, as times have changed and clearly we're living in a very uncertain time in COVID-19 America and the world for that matter, we've decided it was more appropriate now to bring it back and to create an opportunity of solidarity, as you hear me say a lot on the show, to give everybody in the event industry, and not just brand marketing and experiential, which of course is our core bread and butter business, but to people in the music industry and Hollywood and productions. We've had, comedians and magicians on the show and people that span many different parts of the event ecosystem. My guest today, we're very excited to welcome, and as a special guest is him and his partners are doing something that we feel is very important and stand fully behind at EventSpeak. The AAEP, or the American Association of Event Professionals, as it's called, is something that we're excited to learn more about. And if for those of you watching out there that are new to the industry, or vets out there that are looking to dig your nails in even deeper and share with that vast of knowledge you have, this is the guy to talk to and find out how you can do it. Welcome to the forum and welcome to the show, Teeg Stouffer. How you doing, Teeg?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Big John. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm so excited about what you're doing with EventSpeak. It's so great to see EventSpeak coming back. It's had such a important role in the experiential marketing industry in past years and in so many people's lives and careers. So great to see it coming back.
Thank you, Teeg. I really, really sincerely appreciate that, and quite honestly, as EventSpeak is something that I myself have utilized in the past, and I know my partners and JT and Fox at Evolve and everybody that's helped this thing come to life. We tell that to James, James Trivos, the founder of EventSpeak, because it occurs to us that I don't think he really fully grasped the impact that he made on the industry when he brought EventSpeak to life, many years back. And now it's got a place just as the AAEP does as well. So let's just dive into it and let's talk about the AAEP. Tell me, what is the American Association of Event Professionals, and why does the event industry need to know about it?
Sure. So the AAEP is a new association, and really for the first time, the only association that serves field staff in the experiential marketing industry. So what we're doing is very much like what's happened in most other industries. We're professionalizing the industry. So we're transitioning the industry and the workforce, the field staff side of the business, that group of people who are field managers and brand ambassadors and promotional models and tour managers, and that whole group of field staff, from like an ad hoc workforce, gig-to-gig workers, to a professionalized workforce. So I often compare it to real estate because a lot of people just have an understanding of the world of real estate, right? So, there was a time, Big John, if you wanted to buy or sell somebody else's house, anybody could do it. And there was no rules. There was, I'll sell your house for 10%. This guy will sell your house for 5%. This guy uses that set of forms. This guy uses that set of forms. This guy. And then if somebody did a bad job, there's nobody you could go to. There was no unifying set of conduct. There was no agreed upon standards at all. It was chaos. But houses are a big deal. Wild West, right? But houses are a big deal. This is somebody's life you're talking about when it comes to buying a house. So a bunch of people who like to buy and sell houses and help other people buy and sell houses, they said, you know what? We're going to create an association. And they created the National Association of Realtors. And now, if you want to buy or sell houses for people, right, you become a realtor. And that's what you do. You get your real estate license, you join the National Association of Realtors, and now you're a realtor. And there's good realtors and bad realtors, but you're getting a certain level of person, right? Our industry's never had that. So there's no way. You know who's a brand ambassador? Everybody. Everybody's a brand ambassador. I live in a new development. There's a guy pounding shingles on a roof over there. He's a brand ambassador. right? There's a guy up there, right up the road, they're putting in a roundabout. And he's holding one of those signs, slow and stop. He's a brand ambassador, right? Because everybody's a brand ambassador. There's no line of delineation, right? Everybody who says they are. So we have to create, and there's no standards of conduct. This agency says you got to do this. This agency says you got to do this. This brand says this. Very different for this brand. We have to have one unifying standard of conduct and one association that serves us and works for us and advocates for us and helps people develop their careers. So that's what we're doing. We're helping people who want to make a living in this industry succeed. And previously, it's been tough because there hasn't been an association. Every industry does this sooner or later. Our industry is 30 or 40 years old. It's time. And so we're here to do it.
So that said, I know it's yourself and you have two other partners.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of an idea of where the event expertise and knowledge originates from with you guys, and where the co-founders kind of get your wheelhouse of knowledge to bring what I believe to be a very needed organization to the industry.
Well, thanks. So, all three of us are just lifelong event people, right? So I got my start as a radio guy. I started out in the radio business, found my home in radio on the promotions side as a promotions director for a 5-station group that became a Clear Channel group. And so that's an inroad for a lot of people into our industry, right? And so that was my inroad. One of our other co-founders, Nanette, she was a professional skydiver and then found her way into events. Matthew Cox, he's one of the other co-founders, had done a bunch of things. He was a rep, like a pro staff rep, product rep kind of guy in the outdoor industry, and worked for the Department of Defense for a while as a range master, found his way into the industry. All of us have been at it for a long, long time. The three of us kind of got to know each other back in 2006. And so we've all been brand ambassadors and tour managers and field managers, and we've done it all. Product specialists, we've all done those field jobs. And then we found our way into agency life and made our way up into agency leadership, presidents and vice presidents of experiential marketing agencies. So we really have a perspective of the whole ball of wax, from what is it to be a field staff and what are agencies looking for and what are brands looking for, because we've served Fortune 100 brands.
Gotcha. On a quick footnote, I find that interesting. I actually come from radio myself.
Yeah.
I worked radio promotion for Jeff McCluskey back in the day.
Oh, no kidding. I know the McCluskey group. Sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Late 90s when Jeff literally ruled the world, and there was, 275 at the time Clear Channel stations that he controlled. And, I started out as an intern and worked my way up. And quite honestly, it was through just frustration and not, when the music industry took a huge dip in the early 2000s and, everybody lost their jobs, it was complete serendipitous luck that someone called me and was like, "Hey, I got a gig for you." I'm like, "Oh, great. What band is it?" He's like, "Well, it's not a band. It's for a brand." And everything came to be. Incidentally, that brand was Kotex. And I was like, you're kidding me, right?
Story, man.
You're kidding me, right? And as it just worked out, the parent company, Kimberly-Clark, was putting a ton of money into this What Fits You experience. They had 8 girls on the road going to the southeastern college towns. The agency that had the business co-signed Dunkin' Donuts as a sponsor, and Dunkin's like, "Well, we want to sample flavored coffee, get a couple guys out there." So I was one of those guys, and that was what, 2005. Now, okay, very interesting. So with the AAEP, it works where, of course, you have your staffers, you've got your brand ambassadors, field managers, models, everybody. But I would imagine having the agency owners and the agency people involved as well is a very crucial part of that ecosystem. So is it a similar type of a membership structure for the agency folks as it is to, say, your field staff people? Or
similar, yeah.
Would you say that the benefits for agency, for perhaps anybody that's out there that's got an agency that's thinking of like, well, how could this benefit my agency? Mm-hmm. What would you tell them?
Yeah. So if you're on the agency side of things, one of the main things you're getting is a more stabilized workforce. So one of the complaints, and I don't mean to disparage anyone, but having been involved in agencies and brands, gosh, I think everybody knows this, is that you don't always know what you're getting. And you have this problem when you have an agency. The reason you don't have all your brand ambassadors and field managers and tour managers as full-time employees is you can't keep them busy all the time, you know? And so you need them on cyclical bases. And so that's why agencies use a whole bunch of different people all the time. But the problem is, John, you and me, we've had careers, I'm making a presumption about you, but where somebody has coached and mentored us through our careers. I've had that advantage, and that's been really good. I've had people who, they want to train me to do their job, right? They're constantly mentoring you, training you, giving you career development because I've been an employee for so much of my career, you know? If you're a career field person, nobody's really doing that. They're only providing you career development to the extent that it benefits them. So mostly it's, hey, here's your talk points. Here's what to do and not to do. Knock 'em dead, kid. And that you don't get beyond that. And so what we're doing by providing ongoing, consistent training and career development is just creating a better workforce for agencies. And that helps everybody, right? That helps them better position themselves to brands. Brands do not want to be represented by just anybody. They want to be represented by a professional. John, if you're going to have somebody sell your house, you going to a realtor or just somebody you know? You're going to a realtor, right? These brands that would spend $1 million on a commercial don't want just anybody. They don't want the reputation they've created in just anybody's hands. So as soon as they have access to professionals, that's all they'll want. So agencies in the same way want to be able to say, we're only using professionals. We only staff with professionals. And the only professionals are members of the professional association.
I get it, man. I get it. You know, it's interesting because it's something that I felt has always been sometimes a disconnect when it comes down to folks that, you know, again, not making any presumptions to any of you agency folks out there, but the certain people I've worked with in the past where they just, you know, the brand ambassadors, your staff on the ground sometimes is the last thought. And yet it's the first piece of interaction with the consumer base to the brand. You know, I did the Warped Tour for years, and there was a chunk of years AT&T was the presenting sponsor out there.
And I sort of worked on that business. I was the AT&T agency for the Warped Tour.
Really?
No kidding.
Did you work with, now I know there was, honestly, Jennifer Erdman was the client?
100%. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So
small world, man.
I was the tour manager for them 2008, 2009 out on the Warped Tour. And,
no kidding.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. We I bet we met. And then it's kind of come back to me. But was Brian Goki right before you or right after you? He was the tour manager
right before me. Right before me.
Yeah, right on. That was my time. Yeah.
That was it was because what basically AT&T jumped ship in 2009. Just of their sponsorship in general. They were, you know, that basically Jennifer's boss changed hands and they decided to go in a different direction. Wow, what a small world. That's so funny, man.
Yeah, man.
But you know what I was going to say to that is we would be out there and you would get people come running up to you, be like, you know, hey, I was overcharged on my bill last month, or hey, my reception is terrible out here. You know, like, because they don't differentiate that this is an AT&T salesperson. They just see AT&T. And that's why I think it's so important. And, you know, as people like ourselves, to take an active role in marshaling and mentoring the future, the next generation, because let's face it, man, a lot of the stuff we know probably comes from the school of hard knocks. And yes, we know we're very fortunate for people like you and I, and I'm sure others watching that have been mentored, where you had someone that saw potential in you and took you under their wing and trained you. Because, you know, the thought is that they know their way of doing it and they have an equation that relates to their version of success. And they can impart that on the next generation. They're only strengthening their workforce. But, you know, it seems to me, as we're on that subject, that something like the AAEP should have been around a long time ago. Why do you suppose it's taken this long for you and not for you guys, but why did it take so long that you and your partners finally were the ones that were like, hey, we need to do this and we're going to do it? Why do you think it took so long?
Oh, that's a good question. It's anybody's guess. Here's what we've discovered over the last year or so as we've developed and launched it. a lot of people, including us, have said, you know what we ought to do? You know what we need? You know what we ought to do? We ought to do this. But you never take action on it because, Big John, I run a nonprofit association, and right now we put the nonprofit in nonprofit, man. We're just losing money. Does that sound good to you? Like, most people, you have to be somewhat self-sacrificial to want to do this because there's a lot more money in having a for-profit enterprise. And the thing is, startups are hard. Even if you're doing a startup as a nonprofit, there's going to be people who don't get it. They don't, whatever. It's just hard. Startups are hard. So try starting up a nonprofit and then have a pandemic hit. But that aside, I think that's one of the main reasons is that if you're debating between, well, do I create a nonprofit association or do I just create an agency where I'm going to make potentially a lot of money? Well, you choose the agency, right? And the other thing is it's hard. Like, it's hard because we have this ad hoc workforce. So I don't mean this in any disparaging or diminishing way to anybody. But you're hurting cats. You're hurting a lot of people who they're brand ambassadors, they're event people. They have big personalities and big ideas, and they very intentionally went into a career that it's just freewheeling, and it is the Wild West. That's part of what makes it fun. And I'm doing this today, and I'm doing that, and it's hard. That's why I think people haven't done it. And we're not doing it out of a profit motive. We're doing it because this industry, we're passionate about it. It's been very good to us. And we've diagnosed this problem over years. We've been at it for like 20 years, each of us. And so we're like, gosh, so much in this industry has moved forward. Look at all the advancements. And we're still dealing with the same problems with staff that we were 20 years ago, because it's never been professionalized. Somebody has to professionalize this. And when you keep saying somebody's got to do it, sooner or later, that somebody is you.
Wow. Well said, Teeg. I couldn't possibly agree more. As someone that, I actually literally just had this scenario come up where one of my managers on a program had gotten in touch with me and was like, I've got this team of BAs out here, and 3 of them are soliciting themselves directly to our clients.
Yeah, right.
And the thing is that I interviewed, the thing is that even when it comes to our staffing, like, I still want to know who's being hired. I want an opportunity to have a few minute conversation with them. So many people just don't, we live in a text, messenger, email, virtual kind of a world that, and part of what I actually love about the Zoom format is it just makes it more personal. You can actually see someone, get their personality, their inflection. And these particular brand ambassadors, I'm telling you, I came from a very reputable agency. And when I talked to them, it was genuine ignorance. Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, well, I'm so sorry. We're just trying to hustle and make money, And then it dawned on me. I said, no one has ever taken the time to teach them. Because the thing is that, yes, you can get someone that is well-spoken. And, this is Los Angeles where I'm at. So everybody, like, lots of actors and actresses, and again, no disparaging or diminishing comments to any of those folks, but our line of work is very appealing to them because it's very flexible. You can pick and choose what you want to do. Sure. And it's, in a way, a brand ambassador is a bit of an actor because, you're playing a part. Like, you are totally, if you're good at your job, you should be, at least. And with that being said, you get a lot of folks that will drop off at the first sign of an audition or anything like that, and it creates this inconsistency and availability amongst top tier talent until you meet the career people. You said something a moment ago. It was very very poignant, and I think you and I talked about this a little off camera. Is that the people that have been most successful in this industry and the people that have the longevity and the staying power, the people that are passionate about it, and you get someone that's young and that's passionate, is like, wow, this is really great. Like, I love this. This is what I want to do. Then they're the people you want to take under your wing. And that's something that I've always prided myself and trying out of my most sincere efforts. And I always tell people, listen, I don't pretend to know this is the way to do it. I just know what didn't work for me. And I want to try to save you those steps. And if you end up doing something that works better, then share that with me. The idea of having, when I heard of the association, I was having a conversation with, Larry Hess over at Encore Nationwide, and we love Encore, we love Larry, and we were, he mentioned to me the AAEP, and I had seen things posted on the social media groups and various places, and I thought to myself, I really hope this is what I think it is, because I couldn't agree with you more that, and I'm not just saying this because we're talking, that there is definitely a need for what you're doing. And the fact that you're doing it, the way you're doing it, where you're doing it nonprofit, and it's something that is literally just created to put value into our business. It's the way that this business will carry on 20 years from now, because it's the people, knock on wood, right? Like, that it's the people that are coming into the industry now, where they don't know what's going on. And quite frankly, even we that have been doing it a long time, we're like, well, yeah, we're kind of figuring it out too, because we don't know what's coming next. We know that it's going to be a very familiar landscape, but it's not going to be the same one BC before Corona. That's inevitability. Now, here's my question. So let's talk a little bit about like what the fees are for, let's say, someone to sign up for the AAEP. And since it's a nonprofit, what would you say the biggest benefit is for someone brand new coming into it? That people that, are in the industry could say, yes, there's value to this, you should be involved in this. But there's someone that just wants to work, make money, and keep busy, and it costs X amount of dollars to do this. What would you tell them? Why is it worth it? Yeah,
you bet. So we've set our annual membership at $99, but we gave away 5,000. We were willing to give away up to 5,000 of those. We wound up not giving away 5,000 when the pandemic hit. We were selling them. The pandemic hit. We made them free. We gave away 5,000. It was our contribution back to the industry, right? And so now we've got it set at 50% off at $49. We hadn't planned on doing that because that's how you get funding when you're a nonprofit, is you have a membership-driven nonprofits. Your membership fees how you get money. So we hadn't planned on doing that. We did plan it on an introductory phase. Hadn't planned on keeping it there. But we didn't plan on a pandemic either. So $49. What somebody gets, and a little bit of it is legitimacy. They can say, I'm a member of the AAEP. I'm legit, right? But that hasn't become an industry-wide standard yet. So what they're getting is every month there are 4 trainings that are sent out to everybody. So they're getting consistent training, career development, mentorship that is good. I mean, it's quality training that comes from real thought leaders, and some of it's very practical. Hey, here's how you use a ratchet strap. I can't tell you how many people on event sites I've seen they don't know how to use a ratchet strap, and that's okay, but we teach them how, right? And then some of it is like, if you need to send an invoice, here is literally an invoice template you should be using, because we've seen back a napkin stuff, right? Or people who say, I never got paid. Well, you were 1099 and you never sent an invoice. That's why you didn't get paid. So some people, just like you were saying, they just don't know. So we're training on some basics and then some higher level stuff. Here's how you go about advancing your career. Here's some mindset stuff. So all the way from technical skills to hard skills, we're teaching all that. Then we're creating networking opportunities. I think EventSpeak is creating networking opportunities. I think that's really big. And we're also creating advocacy. So this is rising tide raises all boats. But for example, we just surveyed our members, created about how is the coronavirus pandemic affecting you? What tangibly? How is it affecting you? How is it affecting you emotionally? How's it affecting your financial state? How is this affecting you? And then a little bit on who those people are, demographics, that kind of thing. And then we created a report, and we sent that report to national and state level leaders. So every governor has received a copy of the report. Every senator has received a copy of the report. The White House has received a copy of the report. And here's the thing. Our industry's never had that because we've never had an association. So the government is blind to us, right? And you're working with the broader event industry. And so in the broad event industry, there has been a rapid coming together of the whole industry, Go Live Together, the Live Events Coalition, to say, hey, we're over here. Because for years, transportation, agriculture, energy, all these big sectors have tons of governmental advocacy. The government can't differentiate us from travel and tourism. It's like we don't exist. And we're not here first and foremost to be an advocacy group. We're not sending lobbyists to Washington, but we're here to advocate on the behalf of our members, of our industry. We've just never had that. So if you want that, pay in. And then for the field staff, that's $50, you know?
Per diem for one day for folks out on the road. That's, you know, honestly, man, like, it's interesting to me because it's like sometimes something that just seems so obvious, yet is never been fulfilled. And I think what you said earlier really hits to that, because you're right. It's difficult. It's hard. It's something that our industry, if it's anything, is it's complex, and there's many variables to it. And I always tell people, like, listen, if you are able to handle everything that you thought was happening, changing in the 13th hour, if you have the ability to improvise and adapt, you will thrive in this industry. And it's, you know, no matter how much planning, no matter how much you contemplate measure twice and cut once, as my father used to say, it's still just the nature of the beast. And it's funny because, you know, as someone that started out in the field, eventually was on an agency life, then started an agency, you know, has been on kind of every side of it. And you see how each various group works. And then you understand where what I call water cooler talk, the kind of, oh, can you believe this thing we're dealing with here? Like, you know, everybody's got their versions of that. And, you know, and it trickles down, and it washes in to the folks on the ground, because that's just kind of the way it works in our business. So I feel like this is a really crucial time in our industry, and also for the educational aspect of it. What you said about ratchet straps, what you said about popping up, like, you know, like putting up an easy up tent. We ran across a video when, you know, just combing the internet, looking for content, looking for folks to talk to. Like, we're really trying to get a wide variety of people on EventSpeak, not only the network, but on the show. And found a video that had like over 100,000 views, which was a tour manager showing how to put up an easy up tent, which is something that maybe we would think, oh, that's just a given, but it's not. Like, you know, to people that are just brand new to this, it could be a daunting task. So, you know, I think for all you folks out there that are watching, and if, you know, for $50, like, you really can't beat that. And I really just want to say, Teeg, like, you know, sincerely, on behalf of EventSpeak, Beyond Experiential, Evolve Activation, Nebula Agency, like, you have our full backing. Like, we really, we are excited to be involved with you guys. We want to be able to support you any way that we can, because we feel that is us being able to invest into our own futures. Because, you know, especially where you think about the importance of your staff and the importance of your managers and the people on the road, like, one of the most important things above all of that is knowing how to motivate people's potential and getting people to operate at their optimum levels, not because you're waving a proverbial finger at them, but because they're passionate and they feel inspired by what you've taught them. And I want to go out there and I want to kill this. I want to do this. I want to get out there and do it. And I think what we're going to have now is we got a lot of folks that, like any of us, you know, it's human nature to sometimes take it for granted that, hey, you know, the event industry has thrived for years. And, you know, people that were just gallivanting around the country and the world and making good money the whole time, like, nobody could have saw a pandemic coming. Right. And then it knocks everyone's wind out. So when it comes back, and it will come back maybe a bit different than it was before, but when that point comes, everybody is going to be gunning to get back on the road. So therefore, something like what you're doing with the AAEP is going to be very crucial, because all of those people are going to need a sense of solidarity, another sense of connection. And I feel like that isn't something that could weigh solely on your shoulders, which is why we here at EventSpeak, and all of us are happy to support you. But Teeg, I want to just say thank you so much for coming by and talking with us today. Know that this is an open forum for you. Anytime you want to come back, bring your partners with. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up over the next few months, a lot of new programming, new things that we're going to be introducing on the EventSpeak network. So check out that, guys. That's me coming up. By all means, we want you guys to be part of that. So once again, it's Teeg Stouffer, guys, one of the founders of the AAEP, American Association of Event Professionals. You can find them at eventprofessional, singular.org. org. And I, of course, am Big John. This is EventSpeak. We're on the EventSpeak network at www.eventspeak.com. We've got a lot of great episodes coming up. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.